Hello and welcome to Woodbridge, the best town around. My name is John McCormick. I'm the mayor of this great town, and we're here tonight prior to a council meeting for proclamations to one of our most fun proclamation nights of the year, and that is the recognition of National Hydrocephalus Awareness Month. Who's clapping? Keep going, man. Keep going. It's okay if you clap. First, let me introduce the council. To my right, Council President, 5th Ward Councilwoman Debbie Meehan. To her right, 3rd Ward Councilman Corey Spiller. To his right, Elizabeth DeJesus, at-large Councilwoman. Brian Small, at-large Councilman. Greg Ficara, at-large Councilman. 2nd Ward Councilman Howie Bauer, and at-large Councilman Kyle Anderson. So we have 7 of our 9 council here. They're out for our buddy Cole, who, as I say all the time, he's got his picture on my Facebook page more than anybody else in the history of Woodbridge, including myself. Every place we go, and every time I see Cole, his mom snaps a picture, and it winds up on Facebook 12.2 seconds later. Probably faster than that, you're right. So let me just call up Michael and Kim Millians and Cole. Guys, come on up. And the quote is, in every child a promise. Whereas the U.S. Congress each year designates the month of September as National Hydrocephalus Awareness Month, thereby elevating hydrocephalus as a medical condition that requires national resources devoted to research and awareness. And whereas the medical community estimates that the number of people who develop hydrocephalus or are currently living with hydrocephalus stands at over 1 million Americans, and that the condition occurs in 1.5 of every 1,000 births in America. Whereas Michael and Kim Millians, National Directors of Advocacy and Executive Officers of the Pediatric Hydrocephalus Foundation and the founding officers of the Woodbridge Township Pediatric Hydrocephalus Foundation, have led the national effort to increase public awareness and information regarding hydrocephalus. And whereas the National Pediatric Hydrocephalus Association invites representatives from the national, state, and local levels to recognize the estimated 1 million Americans touched by hydrocephalus, and encourages leaders from professional, community, and medical-based organizations and associations to work with the medical community in the search for a cure, and to explore additional treatment options for those afflicted, to educate the community by raising the level of awareness about this brain condition, and to provide support to the families, friends, and children who are diagnosed. Now, therefore, I, Johnny McCormick, Mayor of the Township of Woodbridge, in concert with the Woodbridge Township Council, do hereby recognize the period from the 1st day of September through the 30th day of September in the year 2018 to be National Hydrocephalus Awareness Month in Woodbridge Township, and do further extend recognition to the parents and families of the Woodbridge Pediatric Hydrocephalus Foundation for their leadership, dedication, and unfailing spirit and courage in leading the efforts in finding a cure for hydrocephalus. I have a great deal of respect for Mike and Kim and everything they've done for the last 10, 11, 12, give me a number.
9, 10 next year. 10 next year.
10 years, okay. 10 years they've been doing this. A lot of times when something happens, when there's a tragedy, there's an illness, there's something, people all get together, they start an organization, they start a foundation, they have an event for a year, they maybe have an event the second year, and then things disappear and people lose interest. So for something like this to have gone on for 10 years, and for them to have taken this not just from a Woodbridge foundation, but to a New Jersey foundation, to a national foundation, the effort that these 2 residents of Woodbridge have put into this cause is nothing short of amazing, the job they've done. So I'd like to present Cole with this proclamation. Buddy, on behalf of all the people with, oh, wait a minute. You got it, come on, you got to sit next to the mayor. Hold this up for a picture. Turn around, face your mom.
Oh, Daniel.
Hold it up this way. Let me see here. Let me try this. Let me try. Put this here. There you go. There you go. Now look up. No, don't hide your face. All right. And like I said, I've known Cole for 10 years. You'd be surprised. I mean, he can be on his computer at a concert, and I can walk up and he will type mayor, M-A-Y-O-R. So he might be nonverbal, but there's a whole lot going on inside his head there that we'll never know, but he really has a whole lot of skills, and he's able to do a whole lot of things that we'll never know. Mike, you want to say a few words on behalf of the foundation?
Really quick. Thank you again, Mayor. I want to thank the mayor and the council for all their effort and support over the years for the Pediatric Hydrocephalus Foundation. They started a movement in other states and other townships that this effort has been duplicated across the country, where this Township was the first township to ever raise a flag for National Hydrocephalus Awareness Month. So I want to thank the mayor for that, for helping us raise awareness across the country. I want to thank everybody that's here tonight, besides the council members, our board member families, someone with hydrocephalus, Allie Jansen, my family and friends, and my friends on the MAC. Thank you all, and with your effort, we're going to do something to eradicate hydrocephalus one day. Thank you.
Say a little bit if you don't mind. I mean, you go to Congress, you talk to senators, you talk to congressmen, you talk to all kinds of people. Tell me if that's a fascinating effort that you.
Well, we started in 2009. We went to Congress, and a congresswoman from Minnesota took this effort. I only asked how to do one of these hydrocephalus awareness months, and the chief of staff came back to me and said she spoke to the congresswoman, and she was going to do a resolution and submit it to be approved, and we didn't expect that to happen. So the family, when I went to Washington, and we met with various members of Congress, and that was in April of 2009. In July, it passed with a voice vote, and September 2009 was the first month we had a Hydrocephalus Awareness Month, and every year since then in September.
Right, what an effort. What an effort. And I asked Allie before she wanted to speak, and she said no. The answer is still no, right? Yeah, all right, all right. Well, why don't we go outside and raise the flag? All right, we'll do it again one more time, the hydrocephalus flag. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back. Cole, come on over, buddy. Atta girl. Boy, he likes you. All right, we're here now with Haley and Allie and Cole, and we're going to raise the hydrocephalus flag. Haley, why don't you come here, get right in front, hold this, and then you come around here and put your hand on top of hers, and Cole, you come around even more, right there, and reach over and put your hand on the flag. You slide over a little bit, and let you guys here. All right, that's a great picture. All right, now, oops, are you guys ready? You're going to pull slowly down. Ready, go. That's it. Very good. Look at that. Haley, turn around a little bit. Turn around a little bit. Up, turn around a little bit and smile. That's it. There you go.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence for our troops overseas.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated.
Notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Law have been satisfied concerning this meeting. The Home Tribune and the Star Ledger published a notice on December 22nd, 2017. It was also posted on the bulletin board here at Town Hall. Councilman Anderson. Here. Councilman Ficarra. Here. Councilwoman Drum. Here. Councilwoman De Jesus.
Here.
Councilman Small. Here. Councilman Patel. Councilman Bauer. Here. Vice President Spiller. Here. And President Meehan.
Here.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from July 31st and August the 7th?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Ordinances under second reading, beginning with letter A. Letter A, as you remember, is a continuation from August the 7th. You held the public hearing. This evening, this ordinance, which is adopting the Oak Tree Road Rehabilitation Plan, is up for a final vote. Can I get a motion for final adoption? Could I get a motion to adopt this ordinance and send it to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letter B is an ordinance for state fiscal year 2019 to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter B only. Hearing no comment from the public, could I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letter C is in a bond ordinance to amend sections 4B, D, and E of Ordinance 1671, buy-in for the recreation utility of the Township of Woodbridge. Could I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter B only. Hearing no comment from the public, can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letter C, a bond ordinance, letter D, bond ordinance to authorize the acquisition of the club at Woodbridge. Could I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be opened?
Motion.
Second.
Questions or comments from council?
I'd like to make a comment. This is up before the council tonight and before the public. Before we open this up, Mr. Mayor, can you give us a little more information about this?
Certainly. Thank you very much, Council President. Almost 2 months ago, a call was placed from the club at Woodbridge owner, to Carolyn, my chief of staff, asking about our interest in purchasing the club at Woodbridge. The next day at 11 o'clock, we took a tour around the facility. By 11:30, my sister, who's a 35-year member, had 6 texts asking her, what the heck is your brother doing in a suit walking around the club? We started talking to employees. We started talking to members. We looked at the physical infrastructure of the building. We looked at the grounds. We engaged our internal building experts, and we engaged an independent architect engineer to look the place over. We studied the iconic value of the club at Woodbridge to the very fabric of Woodbridge Township. This is a 40-year-old business run by township residents, with well over half the members being residents and well over half the employees being residents. We decided to negotiate for the purchase of the club, and we reached an agreement several weeks ago. We sent a letter to employees and we sent a letter to members, each time explaining our plans to purchase the club, though no commitments were formally made, and they still have not been formally made. We have a handshake agreement that the lawyers are now putting into words. Simply put, we trust the people we are dealing with, and they trust us. I legally don't need Township Council approval to shake a hand, and tonight will be the official approval of the actions that we are suggesting. This has been portrayed as spending almost $10 million. I see spending as buying a tank of gas that's quickly used in a vehicle. Spending is paying an insurance bill or a salary or buying a paperclip. We are not spending $10 million. We are investing $10 million. We are buying land. We are buying a building. We are buying furniture and fixtures, and we are buying equipment. These are all fixed assets that will maintain their value, if not increase in value, but we will always have something to show for our purchase. This has been portrayed as a use of taxpayer dollars. It simply is not, and an easy read of the ordinance would show that. The Woodbridge Community Center was not built with tax dollars, and the club at Woodbridge will not be purchased or renovated with tax dollars. We run the center through the recreation utility, and we will run the club the same way, and it will be paid for by user fees and other program and service charges, just as it is being run now and just as the center is. This has been portrayed as a gigantic loss of tax ratables. That would only be true if the club's $209,000 annual tax bill was a material portion of our annual $350 million in property tax revenues. It clearly is not. The club is responsible for 0.06% of our total tax revenue. The township's portion of the taxes is about $60,000, which is probably 6 months' cost of responding to politically motivated OPA requests. One small economic development project can replace the club's tax revenue very quickly. In our many stops at the club, we have found one common theme. People love it there. They love the classes and the instructors, the equipment and the trainers, the front desk and the concession stand, the membership directors and the kids' sports. We have agreed to keep every employee and every program and service in place, and the only major change we plan for now is the construction of a second hockey rink where the tennis courts are now. And that's probably a decision that would have been made anyway to eliminate the tennis by the current owners had they owned the club for another year. We will beautify the inside and outside of the building, and we will keep the fees the same as they are now. By purchasing the club at Woodbridge, we will protect over 200 jobs. We will keep a place that over 3,000 people call home, where kids go for summer camp and swimming lessons, where parents go to exercise and run the track, where people go to play racquetball, basketball, and badminton, where people go to socialize and meet the lifelong friends they made over the years there, and in some cases where people have met their future spouse. It is vitally important to the type of town that Woodbridge is for us to be the owners of the club and to prevent unwanted development of the site and to prevent another entity from running a business there that would threaten our Woodbridge Community Center. The club is like a country club in golf, and the center is like a county course. Both have existed for the last 16 years without competing with each other because they each have a unique clientele. This relationship will continue. We cannot be the best town around unless we take care of the people who work here and the people who visit here and the people who reside here. This purchase does all three. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Are there any comments from council? I get a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter D only.
Good evening, John Maris, New Jersey. Thank you, council, for having this hearing. I do want to note that for some strange reason, you no longer have the cameras here this evening.
We still have cameras. They're upstairs.
Oh, okay. Haven't been here a while.
Well, they're right there.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, they're right there, but they're live upstairs.
My fault, I haven't been there a while.
They've been there for a little while now.
Good. That said, I'm sure, do they pick up only yourselves and the administration, or do they also pick up the public?
They pick up what they've always picked up.
Pardon?
They pick up what they've always picked up. There's no change.
Well, you can't always pick up, because I don't know what those are picking up. Prior to those installations, we had cameras here, that when the public was up addressing the town council or the administration through the council, they would be photographed on video. That was subsequently dropped for whatever reasons. I guess the administration didn't like public coming up here speaking and being on TV. In any case, the question is still valid. Do those cameras pick up any of the public when they're at this mic speaking to the administration?
They pick up whatever the public is speaking of.
They get the voice, but they don't get the video.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. That said, I listened to the mayor, and invariably he'll throw in something about politics. And not everything, every time I come up here or anybody else, it's not about politics. It's about the reality of what is happening. And what's happening right now is that the club town is being, the council is being asked to go ahead and approve the purchase of the club. It's a private organization. And when I oppose any government body going in and taking over and going into competition with what would be otherwise entrepreneurial things that will bring tax revenues into the town. Mr. McCormick may say it's only $240,000. I think they were paying $245,000, but for some reason about a year and a half ago they got a nice $30,000, $35,000 tax reduction on that property. I'm not quite sure why that is, but I do know it's a lower rate. About 15%, I believe, overall. And I'm sure there are many other people in this town who would love to see a 15% reduction in their tax rate on their own or their businesses. But moving forward, there's also a history of this, and I went through with a lot of painstaking. Again, Mr. McCormick was good enough to mention Oprah requests, and I submitted quite a few of them. I submitted ones to get the records of a 24th meeting here, at the July 24th meeting it is, where the town council was asked what they knew about the pending purchase, the intended purchase of the club. Basically, it was nothing other than it was in negotiations. And yet, if I look at the Oprah request that I got, in response to the Oprah request on July 17th from John McCormick to members of the administration and to the town council, it clearly defines the timeline by which all of this is going to happen. It was a fait accompli as of July 17th. So the purpose of you doing this tonight is nothing more than rubber stamp and approval to go ahead for this purchase. In saying that, part of my corporate career was acquisitions and mergers. We always did our due diligence. When I asked for all these documents, I asked for environmental studies, I asked for all correspondence. I was told there was none between the town council, the mayor, the good people that own, and I happen to be a member of the club myself, back to 2004. So I have no animosity about the club. I'm looking strictly at the purchase and how it's being done. There's no appraisal on that property, and I don't know that Mr. McCormick has ever obtained an appraisal license. So where's that? Where's the business plan? He's mentioned there's 200 employees. Right now, the club, the Woodbridge Center, pays over $1 million in annual expenses to the employees that they do have. That's that much more burden that we placed on the town. I've not seen a profit and loss statement. I don't think anybody ever will. That's another issue. Why are we doing this? This is a want. It's not a need. And if there really are people out there that can buy this club and run it the same way as the Prolos have, as a private enterprise, we should be looking at that, not spending taxpayers' money to indulge somebody else's whim about buying a club. We don't need it. There are other health clubs in town. They don't need the competition. We need an ice skating rink. Mr. McCormick plans on buying, and I'm not sure the council approved it yet, but you will, the developmental center over in Avenel. He claims he wants to have businesses there. Why not bring an ice skating rink and put it over on that side of it? Why does it have to go here? And in fact, if the fellows wanted to sell their property to somebody that wants to develop, there's obviously a lot of plans to put in more apartments around here. Why not put one there? Put another office there. Bring in more rateables. Stop wasting taxpayer dollars on frivolous things that somebody wants to make themselves look good. Thank you.
Are there any other comments from the public on letter D only?
Good evening. I'm Trish Menendez. I'm a Woodbridge resident. On behalf of the staff and members of the club at Woodbridge, we would like to take this opportunity to thank Mayor McCormick and the Town Council for the proposed purchase of the club at Woodbridge. Many of us here tonight, both members and staff, have been at the club for many, many years, some of us for over 30 years, and we are looking forward to many more years. The staff is especially looking forward to working with Woodbridge Township in serving its residents. We look forward to continuing the legacy of the club as vibrant and fun a place for both members and staff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments tonight on letter D only?
My name is Frank Trumpedor, Ward 1. I find it very disturbing. Most banks will ask for 2 certified commercial appraisals on a property before they'll even consider a loan. I don't see a business plan. Can anyone on this council tell me what the exorbitant costs are going to be for salaries, municipal salaries now, pensions, and benefits for the employees of the club? Can anyone?
Mayor, do you want to take that question?
Well, first of all, we've engaged an appraiser, but the appraiser has not given us a written report. He has talked to us by phone and given us an idea what the property is worth, and our offer is in line with what that appraisal is going to show. As for the other numbers, as a private entity, the owners have showed us some documents, but we did not maintain anything. It's their private business, and we don't want to turn that into a public document. I have some information about what the club takes in. I have information about what the club spends, and I'm very confident that we can make that a profitable business entity the same way we do across the street, the same way we do with everything else we run.
Mr. Mayor, if you walk into a bank with that information, they'd throw you through the door.
Okay, good.
Okay?
Yep.
This is unconscionable what you're doing. I spent 25 years in finance. This does not fly in the real world. You don't have a business plan. You don't have a certified appraisal. This is not acceptable to citizens of Woodbridge. This can't happen. You have no idea what these costs are going to be 3 years from now. You haven't given us an indication. What is this? Is this we're serfs and we're supposed to obey
The mayor has
every move?
explained what we are going to do over there.
Yes, but you don't have it in black and white. And
This is a business that runs profitably. It's a business that has executives that run it that we will not have to have because they won't be here anymore. I won't get any more money, nor will Vito or Carol or Senator Bennett or anybody get any more money because we're running the club. So we will save entirely 100% of the executive salaries. We're also not subject to property taxes. We're also not subject to sewer fees. We also can borrow it far cheaper than any private entity. All these things factored into the equation that I looked at these numbers, and I can say confidently that we will have no problem running this business at a profit. But again, the actual numbers are the privy of the owners, and we are not accepting any documents that will be public that will jeopardize their right to privacy.
That's a new one, because I don't know any business that moves that way.
Well,
That is impossible.
welcome to Woodbridge, the best town around.
Oh, really? This is not acceptable. You are doing less due diligence on this purchase than most people do when they buy a shirt. We know nothing about this. All we have is verbal. Verbal doesn't fly in the real world. You are forcing this sale. I object to it, and I behoove you to put this sale on the ballot this November and let the citizens decide instead of forcing it down their throats. You're not oligarchs. You're here to serve us, not the other way around. Think about it.
Council President,
Go ahead.
I just want to comment that this gentleman here, if it were the other way around and we did not interact with Woodbridge Club, we'd have the same group here saying you're allowing this place to turn into apartments. Someone's going to come along, another developer, we don't want more apartments. But at this time right now, we're preserving this location as a club, as the mayor had pointed out, so that people can continue to be employed there, people continue to enjoy their recreation there, and we can provide it at a better service. The place had become dilapidated. It was no longer able to serve the people that were paying membership there at the rate that they were. I applaud the mayor and the council for getting involved in this into this business entity here, and preserving something that has been a part of Woodbridge for over 40 years.
Thank
Why
you.
don't you declare it a historical landmark?
For the public?
Okay, yeah. Good evening, Council President, Mr. Mayor. Carolyn Ehrlich, is she back there? My Create Space girl, okay. George Baka from Oakland over there. I was wondering why you guys were having all these executive sessions after the council meetings, and it doesn't take 2 and 2 to have 5 and figure out what you guys are talking about. Bazinga?
No, that has nothing to do with it now.
Okay, you still want to tell us what you're talking about. We're getting another community center anyway you talked about it. What happened to the original one? I mean, that was the jewel of Woodbridge.
They're two different businesses.
Two different businesses?
Yes, they're two different. Just like the mayor said, one is more like a country club, one is more just like a rec center. So it's two different places. There's two different members. They've never competed against each other. It's two different.
Will we have valet parking there, or nobody?
No, we will not have valet.
Okay. I'm just concerned about stuff like that. How are you going to pay for this? Number one, I see you've broken down the financing into 2 different segments. There's a $750,000 segment for the purchase of the physical property. Am I pretty good with a 40-year bond? Is that right?
Not even
No.
close.
Not even close. Can you explain that?
7.5 million.
Pardon?
7.5 million.
7.5 million, okay, for the purchase price of
That's
the
correct.
thing. Another $200,000?
No, that would be $2 million.
2 million? Okay, 2 million, I don't know if my things are wrong. 2 million for the infrastructure and the creation and the making the stuff there, right? You're going to be adding the ice rink, other stuff like that. Is that correct over
It's
there?
for
That is not included tonight.
The ice rink is not included tonight?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you for that. Can I go home and ask a friend? Anyway, deal, no deal. The $800,000 for fees, 880, or I read it out there in the board on the hallway. What is that $800,000 for fees and soft costs?
Oh, there's a piece of the ordinance that goes for what's called soft costs, which is lawyers and engineers, architects, things like that, and the appraisal.
another $1 million tacked onto it, so it's not.
No, included.
That's not included in the bond?
It's
Yes.
included
It
in that
is.
price.
Okay, all right. Who is going to be paying for the community center? Will this be a pilot-funded project?
We're
No.
not talking about the community center, we're talking about the club.
The club, yeah, the club. Will the club be a pilot funded?
No.
No. So it's going to be taxpayers all the way?
No, as I said, if you were listening, it's paid for by the people who use it.
The community center in across the street was supposed to be paid for by the people, and every other week or so, or every other month, they're replastering the pool, putting a new HVAC system in, fixing the roof, and I mean, after for what? You got a 40-year-old
Any
building.
business needs
Paid
to be
for
maintained.
by the people who use it.
I see the people coming in here and wondering why the taxes are being siphoned for the community center, and now you're putting this over here. You're inheriting you're buying a 40-year-old building, right? Do we know if there's asbestos or any other type of problem here?
There is not.
Okay, that can be guaranteed, right?
And we're not siphoning any tax money, as I said. It's paid for by the people who use it.
Okay. I mean, you got all these people over here, it's going to be ritzy and stuff like that. We're going to have like valet parking. I mean,
It's going to be just as it was. It's going to be just as it was, and they're going to fix some of the things that need to be fixed.
in my limited usage about 20 years ago, I wasn't really impressed with it. Okay, and Scotch Plains is going to have a very nice.
You don't have to go to it.
Huh?
You don't have to go to it.
I
You're
try not
impressed
to.
with it.
I try not to. But what I'm concerned about is the way that you're financing it. Here we go, right here. You have an ad in the newspaper. There is a rehab center in the current club. Am I correct? Am I correct with that, Mr. Mayor?
That's a separate ordinance, not the subject of this ordinance.
I can't talk about that you're going to be running a rehab facility there?
We're only talking about what's in the ordinance deed tonight.
Yeah, but it's about the club, and it's about the employees and the businesses that you're going to be having situated in there.
No,
So-
just whatever in this ordinance tonight.
So we can't talk about the,
You keep asking the same question.
huh?
It's not appropriate this time. That question is not appropriate.
Or I can't.
It's not part of the ordinance, and that question is not appropriate this time.
Well, what is
It's called
appropriate?
three times. If
How
you
can
ask the
I,
same question again, you're going to get the same answer.
how can I word it? I mean,
You can't.
they want to do
It's got nothing to do
secondary.
with it. You can't reword it.
So we're going to be running a rehab facility up there.
Not at all.
What does that do for insurance? All right. Hey, listen, this demands further attention on here. I like the way you snuck this in and how you bamboozled the public again, right? And you guys better know what you're doing because you have a lot of seniors losing their houses. And right after this is all over, the mayor and Carol Cohen, they're out. Okay? They don't want to hang around. Thank you.
Any other comments on letter D only?
Good evening, my job is out of Woodbridge. There's a lot of things said tonight about the club. I remember 40 years ago, probably ago, it was always known as a Jeff, a raising forward, and the system. They ran a classy operation. The reason the club is successful because it's a private enterprise run by the people that want to do it. And I don't know how much it cost to build a club. When they built it 45 years ago, I was supposed to 45 years. But I'm sure it wasn't, it cost them $20 million. They made a success out of it. And again, now, the government, and I think the government is paying $7.5 million for it because that's the most money they can get for it. Who's to say what's $7.5 million? And nobody can replace the poor boys and the sister. I'm sorry. Show me the government that knew how to run a business. You spend $20 million on a community center, and if you get so successful, in 12 years the community center is in existence, how come you're not paying cash for it? Why do you have to go bond it? You go in a business that you know nothing about it, you admit it, it's a classy place compared to what you got now, and you want to go compete with the private enterprise. I'm sure if somebody would be individual corporation to buy it, they would run it because it's theirs. The people that run our system, the community system, it's not theirs. They just work there. So please, if you know how to run the business, by now, I'm sure Mayor said it was a jewel, he was responsible building it. You should have money instead of bonding it. Why put a Dexter Bay Road, a 40-year-old bond? And you're taking a guess, you're not going to run it the same, but you know it. First of all, we're not qualified. We have to be special people, special things. This is 40 years business that people know what they're doing. You assume you're going to make success out of it. It is success already, but you're going to run it down. And again, if you know the history of community center, it was supposed to build a different company. The reason it's bankrupt, and I saw the red herring from Citibank that they tried to borrow the money to go public. They said, do not go into the ice skating business. You cannot make money. It turned down, that's what Mr. Chang went there. But again, this is a bad mistake. And what I'm most against it, the government should not try to private enterprise and go with that. The reason you pay $7 million without any appraisals, because maybe it's not worth it that much. And please, this is a place that takes your money. You do have other things that you could put money. Look at the last flood. How many houses in Woodbridge got flooded? Because you got bad infrastructure.
We're only talking about.
I'm talking about
We're
this.
only talking about the club.
Put money that's going to benefit the rest of the whole Woodbridge, not just the members of certain club. We do have a club. Again, don't try to buy somebody and try to be high class because you're not. Thank you.
Are there any other comments from the public?
Debbie Tripolo, and I am Ray Tripolo, the owner of the club's wife, general manager of the club. And I just wanted to comment on a couple of things that were said here tonight. Yes, Ray, Jeff, and Carol did a great job running the club, but the crust of the club is the staff that works there. They're the ones that make the club successful. We could all walk out the door tomorrow, and as long as the staff that's sitting there right now working there is there, the business will continue to be successful. One of the other things I wanted to say was the due diligence as far as the township is concerned. Maybe everybody hasn't seen it, but I've been at the club every day, and I've spent hours upon hours upon hours going through with the rec department's people, every single person that works at the club, what their job is, what they make, and what kind of benefits they may or may not need. And to let all of you know, a lot of the people that work at the club are young people who are going to college, who live in this town, who need the money for their education. So you're talking about taking those away from those people. And that's really all I have to say. Thank you.
Any other comments from the public?
Paul Longo. I'm sorry I came late to the party. I didn't hear the mayor's full disclosure, but I think it's reasonable for citizens of Woodbridge to be concerned, when government steps in where entrepreneurs normally step in. I'm just curious. I know the club has gone into somewhat disrepair, but obviously it stayed within code. Is that an accurate statement? It didn't get to a point where it was a health problem or a safety issue. Is that fair
It
to say?
wasn't a code, it was closed down. Yes, that's a code.
But there's going to be a couple $1 million worth of improvements or just fixing what's wrong
Mayor, you want to take
with
that?
infrastructure and so on.
You said both.
Both.
Both. And how long has the club been on the block or for sale or looking for a buyer? Do you know?
I don't know.
And so my thought is, if it's such a good enterprise, why wouldn't private enterprises be at least given a chance? Why wasn't it?
We don't know that they weren't. We do not know that they weren't, so don't imply that they weren't.
Okay. So, I mean, is it a sale under duress? The people who own it now have to unload it quickly? Is that why they haven't tried to get maybe a more fair market?
We don't know that they didn't. And you don't know that they didn't.
And we don't want to give it a little chance to see if there's a market or other buyers that might see it as a viable
If you wanted to buy a house, would you wait and see if anybody else wanted to buy it before you put an offer in?
I'm sorry?
If you wanted to buy a house, would you wait and see if anybody else wanted to put an offer in
No,
before you put an offer in?
If I wanted to
Would you?
sell a house...
Would you?
Mr. Mayor, you don't have to badger me. My question is, if I wanted to sell a house, I would try to get top price for it.
How do you know they didn't?
Well, I imagine that you guys, you're saying that you could give a better price than the market would give?
I didn't say that. I'm saying, how do you know they haven't had it on the market for 5 years? How do you know?
Because they haven't sold it yet.
That doesn't mean they wouldn't try. You don't know, and I don't know.
Let's say it has...
It's none of our business.
Let's say it's been 5 years. That means no one wanted to buy it. My point is, it seems to me that if the private sector doesn't want to buy it, why do we want to have it?
How do you know?
It could be a losing enterprise.
How do you know all that? You don't.
I'm asking.
I don't know, and I keep saying I'm not the owner of the club. It's not my business what they did to try to sell it. They called us. We talked to them. We had negotiations, and we're buying it. What they did prior to that point is none of my business.
Right. My only point, and I'll just for emphasis state, that if no one else, obviously to this point, wanted to put in an offer that competed or was better than yours,
Which you don't know.
that could be a red flag.
Which you don't know, and I don't know.
If it was better than yours, why would they prefer to sell it to the city?
I don't know, and you don't know.
No, I'm just saying it does not make sense to me.
Because you don't know enough to make sense out of it.
Well, why don't you inform me?
I don't know. It's their business.
You got a rough appraisal.
It's their business. You'll have the appraisal when it's issued. When it's issued. When it's issued.
What's that?
When it's issued.
Okay. And so you actually already have a fixed price on this before you have a hard appraisal?
I have a good idea that what we offered is going to be less than what the appraised value is.
Okay. And we have a business plan. We know what kind of revenue to anticipate. We certainly should know what the expenses are.
Yes.
And we can share that with the public now.
No, we can't. As I said before, you weren't here. I have seen numbers for the club. I know how to read numbers. I know the revenues. I know the expenses. If we take possession of anything that's their financial statements, it becomes a public document. They don't want their financials to be a public document. They're a private entity.
Right. And they don't want to open up for best price in the marketplace.
How do you know that?
Because
why
if
do you
they
keep
had a
making
better
assumptions?
price, they would have taken it now, wouldn't they?
Probably.
Right.
But how do you know? Maybe they wanted the town to own it.
Softly in you.
What is
You're such a big mouth. Gosh. Speak to him with respect.
And last,
Please sit down.
And I know I should be addressing the council. Back in the day, I've been asked to run on a number of occasions for office, and one time we had a slate that included the mayor. I did research, and when the mayor, present mayor, was a treasurer, state of New Jersey, there was this little debacle called Xanadu, where it's claimed that due diligence was not done. And I know, how does this tie in? It brings up a concern again that maybe due diligence was not done. Maybe this is something, just a feather in his cap to make him look like he's, you
have to
the big Mahat.
ordinance that we're talking about the club.
Council President, I just want to add, one of the first things that one of the first votes that I had when I became a councilman was when Colonial Country Club was up for sale. And there were some of the same people that are complaining right now about this deal here, that we should allow the private entities to check that market for Colonial Country Club. And we knew that developers were looking at that property very harshly. They were looking very closely at that property. And if we had not sought open acres funds from the county to buy the development rights, could you imagine what that property would have looked like if it was completely developed, and the schools and the infrastructure, the widening of the highways, and what that would have done if we had allowed apartments to just be developed there? And I was proud that that was one of the first things that I was involved in. And here's an opportunity. We kept Colonial Country Club what it was. It's Colonial Country Club. Here's another fixture that's been a fixture. People all over Central Jersey know the club at Woodbridge. They know that. They've played a lot of racquetball here. When those kinds of clubs are, there's one in Edison that it's fallen apart. and the township has stepped in, but at the time when I know, and thank you very much to the employee who shared how much due diligence the township has done. And the mayor has been talking about this project from day one when the club came to the town and asked them if we would be interested in this. And the due diligence that was done to make sure that this is the right thing for the town and for the township residents. So again, I support this project. I think it will, one, it will prevent development in that area, and two, it will preserve jobs and preserve a staple of Woodbridge Township.
I appreciate you sharing that, and this will be my closing comment. At the country club, it wasn't the only option that the city step in and buy it, or apartments. You could have not allowed apartments to be developed there, and a private entity still could have come in. And I believe that could be the case here as well. Time will tell. I mean, we are paying now in taxes what we did when we first had our mortgage, with principal, interest, tax, and insurance combined. And, you know, as taxpayers, we do feel put upon. And we are concerned when government steps in claiming that they found a great business model. And we are skeptical that even the existing community center is a profitable enterprise. And I go there, but there are some signs and indications it's not the best run operation, but it's sufficient for my needs. Having two clubs, I don't think city-owned, I'm not thrilled about it. And like I said, obviously the decision's made already. This is just a little bit, you know, an opportunity for us to vent as put upon taxpayers, but time will tell. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments from the public on letter D? Letter D.
Yes, I'm Eugene Fioravanti. I'm live in Colonia. I have a unique perspective. I'm a member of the club. My wife's a 13-year employee there, and my children have gone through their first jobs at the club, working in the summer camp and in the daycare center. So, for me as a resident, the club is a godsend for me. It's a place I go to vent my frustrations. I have lifelong relationships with members there, with trainers there. I applaud the town in doing this because I don't want to see another apartment complex go up. Sure, the town may lose some ratables, but it's like the staple Mr. Anderson just mentioned here. This is an iconic business in the town, and it's like I said, I was been here for 13 years. I'm thankful that she may still have a job. That's something that was going to be on my plate to have to worry about. So yeah, I'm a little biased, but again, my kids have grown up there, started in the daycare, had jobs there. My son got his first, real summer job. He was so excited. In fact, he's working 40 hours a week. Teenagers getting their first paycheck. I thank Ray and Debbie for having that opportunity. And as a taxpayer, I have no problem with this. Thank you.
Any other comments from the public? If there are no other comments, can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for review?
My name is Craig Morgan. I've been a member of the club since around 2004. And I'm actually, to me it seems great that the town is actually buying the club and the standard will either stay the same or go up. So from what we see from members of the club, we actually, from the people I've talked to, we actually love it. So I'm appreciative. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
One more time. Any other comments from the public? If there are no other comments from the public, can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Any questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letter E is an ordinance authorizing directing that title and possession of certain real property described as 585 Main Street be acquired by Woodbridge Township. Can I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Public hearing is now open on letter E. Letter E open. Hearing no comment from the public, can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letter F, an ordinance memorializing Township Woodbridge employee disciplinary policy dismissal procedures. Can I get a motion that the ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open?
Motion?
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter F only. There no comment from the public. Can I get a motion that the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion?
Second.
Questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letters G, H, I, and J will take as, I'm sorry, take G separately. Take G, an ordinance in accordance with Chapter 7 building regulations under the Uniform Construction Code. Can I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and a public hearing be opened?
Motion?
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter G only. There are no comments from the public. Can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion?
Second.
Any questions from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We'll take H, I, and J as consent. These are all amendments to Chapter 7. There's deletions and the additions of handicap parking spaces and a designation of public bus stops. G, H, and I. Can I get a motion that the ordinances all be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open?
Motion?
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letters H, I, and J only. H, I, and J. Hearing no comment from the public, can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinances be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion?
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letter K is an ordinance authorizing the installation of a traffic control signal on Riverside Drive at Mac Lane. Can I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open?
Motion?
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter K only. Hearing no comment from the public, can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion?
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. First reading ordinances, letters L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, and T. Can I get a motion that all these ordinances be passed on first reading, published in the Home News Tribune on August 24, 2018, with notice of public hearing to be held on September 4, 2018 at 7 p.m.?
Motion?
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Resolutions 1 through 29 will take as consent. 1 through 29. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion?
Second.
Questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
We will now go into our public portion of the meeting. If you'd like to make a comment, please go to the mic on the right, state your name and the town you're from. We do have a 5-minute limit.
Oh, Bob, what a haircut you got. You gotta go to A's. Of course, you're from Browsers, the hairstylist, Monday and Tuesday. Robert Menzie, no gun at 434 Alpine Street. Be nice to someone. Be nice to someone. Be nice. Help me. Help me. It's all about you, Judge Boyd. It's all about you, the City Council, and the Portland Police Department. They're like the Mets, the Portland Police Department. These council members, they help people. I ask for help. I go to the meetings, no help at all, nothing. Okay, I signed a complaint against 3 people. And a week ago, when I went to the courthouse, and the judge got to look at it again. He's got to look at it. It's going to be 2 weeks next week. Now, what can I do if they don't do nothing? If I sign the complaint, they worry about Pablo and Jose and all the guys from the south of the border. Then a true American. I'm getting tired of it. And for that boy, I'm getting tired of going to all these council meetings, talking. Like yesterday, I was at Edison. Mr. President Patel says, no, you can't talk about that. He's like that guy in South Amboy, Ricky Rose. You can't be negative, you got to talk nice. What happened to the First Amendment? Oh, but them great football players, all the beautiful players, they got the right to do that. Yeah, First Amendment. But Mr. Messi doesn't. Another thing I like to pull up. Greg Coughlin, I called the Woodbridge police and the state police to come and help me out. They can't come, they say. Is that true?
Mr. Messi, I need to know a lot more about it.
Well, I'm in trouble. I'm asking for help and they don't come. But then what police department don't do nothing. There's my neighbor. She works at Walmart. I don't talk to her. I go get my drugs. I gotta write my name and my birth and what year I was born. I don't talk to her. And I called 2 nights in a row again, sir. The police come. They want to take me away in the hospital. They want to take me away. They're making noise and they want to take me away. Well, what goes on there? What can I do? What can I do? Anybody out there? I need help. Anybody out there watching? I mean, all I do is I cut my grass, cut my hedges, I do my chores. I don't bother nobody, but they seem to bother me. Like that guy, Metallo, he said I accused of trying to kill him. All of a sudden I got locked up because his uncle's a cop on the police force. Boom, 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 it happened quick. That's what I'm saying. Everybody says, oh, you look great. Yeah, I sure do look great, but mentally I'm dying. I'm dying, mentally. Maybe after the show tonight I'll go hear some rock and roll in Woodbridge. Maybe that'll cheer me up. I need a lot of cheering up. So anybody out there, please come to my aid. What do I have to do? What do I have to do? I'm getting tired of going to these council. Yeah, I went to the council meeting yesterday, and the guy says, oh, you show the flag in a funny way, not respectful. And there's another thing. What else can I do? I'm showing the flag like this, and they're criticizing me. And so on and so forth. It seems like every time I do something, I always seem to have a problem with something. All the time. All the time. Wherever I go and whatever I do, it's always something going on. So that's what I'm saying. I need help. Somebody out there, where's my guardian angel? Or Mr. Cochran, the assembly president, talk to Mr. Murphy. Tell him you got a guy in Perth Amboy that's getting beat up by everybody. Maybe he could help me. I was seeing him go to training one day and go in front of the state building and have a sign. I don't know if that's going to work or what. And I'm even thinking about quitting, pack it in, or if anybody got any comments or advice, let me know. I'm open for advice. I'm open for anything. So anybody got anybody on the panel could say something to me. Or help
Mr.
me out.
Messi, your time is up. Mr. Messi, your time is up.
Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, Council President. Talk room tonight. Let's have a moment of silence for the people who will be losing their homes and being evicted from their houses, businesses leaving, due to that pilot tax scheme that the mayor so heartily endorses. I want to discuss with you officers who do duty here in the council chambers that videotaping is allowed, and if you're in a certain area, you are allowed to videotape. I will cut this officer some slack this time, but the next time we will tell him to watch it. Do you understand me, mister? Don't smile. Do you understand me, mister?
Excuse me, you have to address me.
Well, can you tell him that
He's in here to watch over our meeting and to keep everybody safe and in order. So continue what you want to talk about.
Videotaping is allowed in this.
Okay.
Okay.
Keep
All right.
going.
Yes or no?
In that certain corner.
Yeah, okay, it is. I'd do a shout out to Public Works. They moved that little rock over there from Hertzbrook over by the big one there. So that turned out pretty good. And, you know, give it a little bit of company over there. Another person got killed over by Route 1 over there. I mean, I've been
We're
shouting
aware
to
of
you
that.
people. Are you aware of it?
We are, it's an ongoing investigating.
Yeah,
It's horribly
yeah.
tragic.
I hate to shout, I hate to say anything like that, but you gotta do something. The lighting is horrible there. People,
It's an ongoing investigation.
people are stupid, okay? People are stupid, they do stupid things, and we have to protect themselves from it. And I really hope that, you know, something is done there and on West Pond Road over there, okay? I'd like to see Carol Elrick here. That's nice. She's here for the Creative Space. Hello, Carol. Over here, Caroline. Wave. Hi. How you doing? Okay. We
Mr.
don't have any
Tabaka.
more properties here.
Continue with what you want to
Okay.
ask.
Any more properties in town? Quincy Court. Anything going on over there?
We're moving along positively, and everything is in order.
All right. Yeah. If you could do
You
anything.
ask every week.
Okay. Well, I think I understand you're taking over 25 Pennsylvania Avenue over there, and you're going to be adding that on to the complex over there. So.
Senator?
No.
Not at this time.
Okay, whatever. Lastly, the Greenway, everybody's aware of it. You guys did problems, you did sewer work over there.
It wasn't anything to do with the
you
sewer.
added a
It was the
parking lot?
5 inches of rain that came down.
You added a parking lot. I know it was a deluge of biblical proportions, but, you know, you have to do something over there.
The county is already working on it.
No, if you guys are a contributing factor to it, I think you should contribute to it too, in the repair.
We had 5 inches of rain.
I know 5 inches of rain, yeah. Okay, but you took the buffers out at the end of the street.
They're working on putting a retaining wall in.
Well, retaining walls, and you do need buffers too, so that's it. So, all right. And what about this thing? We're going to be running a rehab facility over there. You guys had the gumption to advertise for a rehab facility over in the Woodbridge Center, over at Woodbridge. The new thing that we voted on tonight. We're going to be running a.
Can you clarify that? Can you clarify what you're talking about?
It was advertised in the paper over here. You have a concessionaire for a rehab center in cell phone tower.
I'm going to pass that over to the mayor.
This is all connected to our purchase of the club at Woodbridge. They currently run a physical therapy operation there. I believe it's a separate actual legal entity, but it's all run together with the club at Woodbridge. Somebody said before, we don't know what we're doing buying the club, except the club has a track, a gym, a cardio room, a weight room, a concession area, all the same things that we run at the community center. So we certainly know what we're doing to run the club. The only difference is they have racquetball and tennis, and we have a hockey rink and an ice rink. Everything else is the same. But we do not have experience in physical therapy, and frankly, we're not comfortable running a physical therapy operation. That is a high-risk operation. There's multiple chances for permanent injuries as a result of possible things that could go wrong. It's just not something we think the government should be doing. So we reached an agreement with JFK Johnson Rehabilitation Institute. They have several facilities around the area, one in Metuchen, one in Edison, and another one or two, I believe, but I'm not sure where. And they're going to come in as of October 1st. They're also going to keep all the employees. There's 4 full-timers and several part-timers. They're going to keep everybody, and they're going to take over and run the physical therapy operation because, again, it's not something we're comfortable running.
Thank you. Thank you. Your time is up.
Homer. Okay.
Are there any other comments from the public this evening?
John was trying to put this again. I want to direct a question because Anderson, why are you bringing Colonial Country Club? We did not buy a Colonial Country Club. We used the county Green Acres money to buy a building rights.
That's what I said.
But so they would never, we just bought the building rights.
Exactly, that's what I said.
It's run by the private entity.
It was from county funds.
Right, so but it's a fund, it's not us, it's a county.
No, we did it though. We went and approached the county, but we
Yeah, we approached the county before. When I was there, the mayor was there, and I said, why don't we go to country, we're going to get the Green Acres money.
Oh, it was your idea?
No, it was my idea, but again, it said we were turned down, and I said, that gravy is dead, so do it again. So probably you could have got it for $3 million, $6 or $7 million. Another thing, you are threatening us with more apartments. If the club is not sold, we don't buy the club, then we'll put more apartments. After you put thousands of apartments to Woodbridge, let's go for years. How many more apartments can you put on the club property? Nobody's going to pay $7 million or more, $10 million, whatever it is, to put apartments over there. But they can buy General Dynamics 27 acres for heifer.
It's about smart development, sir.
Well, so the thing was, don't threatening us. You know and you admit it. Right now, Mayor admit it. What makes it have success? The people that run it, the business they are there. You had 12 years to compete with the club, and you admit you didn't succeed. Now you want to buy the competition?
It's not competition, it's two different businesses.
I mean, sorry.
It's not competition. They've been next to each other for years.
I know, but you admit it. You never compete with that, right?
I didn't get what you said.
We said we don't compete with the club. What we said was that if somebody were to buy the club and run it in a similar way to what we run in the community center, that it could in the future be competition for us, and it could threaten our livelihood there. So part of our decision was defensive, that I'd rather own it and be able to run it differently like it's run now instead of somebody running it to compete with us. That's what I said.
So when you talk about it, a successful club is competition. So that means...
I didn't say that.
Did you do? When it's successful, because it's not to pay $7 million. Who's to say that you're going to be able to keep up the business?
Who's to say otherwise?
Well, who's to say? Well, you're just guessing. You just guessing.
We have the experience to run the club the same way we run the community center, which is at a profit.
But again, Mayor...
And like we talked about, there's all these very positive things that are going to happen over there. People are going to keep their jobs. It's a great facility. The members are happy.
No, I'm sure somebody else would buy it.
How do you know that?
Not a government, not a city. Somebody should buy it. It's a business. It's a good business. People will get into it.
But you don't know if somebody else came in if they would keep those employees. Maybe all 200 people would lose their jobs.
I do believe that people that do have a utility in South Labor too. I think that's part of them too. So they know how to run the business. They know how to expand. So that's my feeling. But don't try to scare us because more apartments and more Colonia Country Club.
No one's
You
trying
did
to
it
scare
already. It's
anyone.
too late. I'm sorry, it's too late for it. It's too
No
late.
one's trying to scare anyone, sir.
Take this test.
Are there any other comments from the public?
Good evening, everybody.
Can you please state your name and where you're from?
Yes, my name is Ruth Perez, and I am here on behalf of all Avenel train commuters. I'm also a resident of Avenel, and I'm here representing them, me among of them, and speaking for them. I make a short list of things that we really need for you guys to please consider, listen our needs, and help us with the problem that we have at this moment. The first thing that we, the train commuters, decide that is very, very important is please do not import the parking regulation until Avenel residents have a municipal parking in front of the tracks of Avenel train station. 2, build a proper municipal parking for Avenel train commuters in front of the tracks of Avenel train station. 3, work please with New Jersey Transit to request to increase Avenel train service during the week and during the weekend. And 4, please expand Avenel train station and provide shelters and heating lamps during cold winter. These 4 requests are, I don't think that are things that are not doable, but if the township collaborates each other and understand the needs that the Avenel train commuters and residents of the township have at this moment, we are really please appealing to help us with all these problems. Not for next year, but now. We need help now. We have nowhere to park, but we had to go every day to work in New York. And this is one of the problems that the Avenel residents and the train commuters, we are suffering at this moment. Going to other train stations as an alternative until this problem is with solution is not an option for us. Many of us, me among of them, decided to purchase a residence in Avenel many years ago because it has a train station, the only public transportation for Avenel residents. Thank you.
Council President. Mr. President, I want to thank you for coming to the council meeting. I've met with you twice, and I've said please feel free to come to the council meeting. We encourage our residents. As you know, the reasoning behind the restricted parking is because the parking was getting severely out of control on the streets leading up to the train station. New Jersey Transit built a train station, and they did not build parking. That's not the township's fault, but it's our responsibility to try to move forward to figure out what we can do to assess the situation. It's always a drop-off, walk-up, and over the course of the last 10 years, 5-10 years, it's more and more residents, but also more and more out-of-towners are parking on the streets, what we call invasion parking. Now, there's a difference between somebody coming to a friend's house for lunch, and there's a difference between two cars parked in front of your house from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I completely understand your need for the train station, as well as many Avenel residents. We are working on 3 projects to bring parking services to the residents. It's not going to happen overnight. As many residents have been explained, the enforcement has not begun. The signs are up to let people get ready that at some point we're going to announce that on this date the enforcement will commence. Right now the enforcement is not taking place until after. I'm sorry?
I'm sorry for the interruption, but you are incorrect on that. The Avenel train commuters are receiving parking tickets. 2 of the train Avenel commuters had 2 parking tickets last week. There weren't any kind of notification that it will be enforced eventually. They got the tickets.
They got warnings.
No.
If they're like I spoke. Well, I'm not saying they didn't. If somebody got issued a summons before we started the no enforcement, that was before we decided to go with the no enforcement. That is going to continue until after the shuttle program commences, which we are gearing for the Tuesday after Labor Day. If everything goes, we can get everything done at that parking lot. We also have 2 other locations that we are looking to have the residents park. One closer to.
I'm sorry, but the time is up. Can maybe the 2 of you could
yes, absolutely.
After the meeting, and you can continue your conversation.
I believe this is a problem that
your time is up, so we're going to have to move along. We only have a 5-minute limit. Would you continue with Councilman Spiller after the meeting?
Thank you.
Okay.
Are there any other comments from the public tonight?
Good evening, Tom Maris. Just going to a couple of footnotes to transpire tonight. As I said when I got up here earlier to talk about that amendment, it was a fait accompli. We saw that tonight. I hope everybody in this town that's hearing this, even if they can't see it, recognizes that this was just a rubber stamping council. You did absolutely nothing. You've done no due diligence, as the man said. We're moving into buying a property that no good business they would buy without all the information being there. We are the owners of that property. It's our money that's going in. The mayor can say it's not taxpayers' money. When you bond, where does that money come from? Who's paying for that? We are.
No, the users of the facility are.
I didn't interrupt you, and I'm not speaking to you. Thank you. But again, here's another classic example. Colonial Golf Course, that was a joke. Avenel, same thing. Nobody's allowed to speak. Only little residents, nobody else can come in. When you try, not everything's going to be fine. People are now realizing how fine it is, what a burden it is. Talk about apartments. All of Main Street wants to be, what he was performing, all apartments on top. All the way over to Wall Street, new apartments, elevated parking. And we're worried about the club maybe becoming, how about we have zoning laws that can prevent that? You guys control the zoning board. At the very least, you try to have a developer. Unless, of course, it's one of Mr. Florence Spartans, then probably get it right away. But anyway, I hope everybody's very happy. I wish the club good luck. And by the way, if it was that great a good buy, I'm sure they could have sold it on the open market. Again, no due diligence, just ram it down people's throats. And why not? We're placating the mayor. He's got a new toy.
Are there any other comments from the public this evening?
Yes.
Ray Zapola, owner of the Woodbridge. Woodbridge is a dynamic town. It has been for years. When my father was mayor, he brought Woodbridge Center. The library system we have today started by him. And Woodbridge is dynamic now, more dynamic than it was then, and it can be in the future. So it is really just about buying the club. It's about Woodbridge, Woodbridge Center, the Turnpike, Parkway. It's a great place to live, and it's just going to make it a greater place to live.
Are there any other comments from the public? Hearing no other comment, I make a motion to close the public portion of this meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Favor aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
Council President, I just want to counter something that was said tonight. Mr. Mayor said he had no animosity toward the club at Woodbridge. He's been a member 14 years, he said, since 2004. Yet, despite the fact that he had no animosity, since we've been involved with the plans to purchase the club, he went inside the men's locker room using a phone, which he wasn't supposed to be using in a locker room. It's kind of creepy. But took pictures of a drain in the locker room, took pictures of a wall that he said was covered with mold, sent those pictures to the Department of Health in the state of New Jersey, which then had to contact us and we had to go out and do the inspection. That sounds like somebody who has animosity toward the club, when all of a sudden, after a 14-year run as a member, he decides he's going to go negative against the club only because they're talking to us.
Excuse me,
I understand there's animosity
That
toward
is a lie. He is slandering me.
I
That's a lie.
understand there's animosity toward
I
me.
did not send the state any photographs. He went and
I
called the state.
understand there's animosity toward me.
Because I
I'm
asked
in
him to do an
politics, I'm in
inspection.
government, I can get that.
It's his turn to talk now.
But to take out that animosity against the owners of the club is ridiculous. And then he posted a diatribe on social media that blasted the reputation of the owners of the club. That is uncalled for. He can have all the problems he wants with me, but to take it out on the owners of the club is nothing short of pathetic, nothing short of disgraceful. Take it on. Bring it on me anytime you want. I'm here. I can take it. You've been shooting at me for 9 years. You've never landed a shot. But don't take it out on the good reputation of the members of the club. Thank you, Council President.
We will now go into our public portion of the meeting. No, the agenda. Sorry. We will now go into our agendas. I will go first. My agenda is in order. I just have a couple of announcements. Central Jersey Beer Fest this year will be on Saturday, September 22nd at Parker Press. From 1 to 5, come out and sample some of New Jersey's finest handcrafted beers and enjoy live entertainment and great food. Admission is $30 for drinking adults and $15 for non-drinking adults. Children under 12 are free. All proceeds from this event will be donated to the family of Steve Skolin, who passed away suddenly last month. Steve worked for the Township of Woodbridge and left behind a wife and 2 young children. Tickets can be purchased at JJ Biddings or at the gate. For more information, you could reach us at 732-634-2929. And I just want to wish all our college students venturing off to college the best of luck. All our Township students starting school this year, good luck, and please be careful. The kids are back out. Be careful while you're driving, and have a happy and safe holiday. Councilman Spiller.
Thank you. Item number 11, Council President. I'd like to report that last Friday, the administration received word that Governor Murphy signed legislation that allows the Township to purchase the former site of the Woodbridge Developmental Center in Avenel, which was closed in 2014. The mayor undertook efforts to purchase the 54-acre site immediately after the closure announcement and has been working with the state legislator and the governor's office to purchase the site. We are looking to develop the site for commercial, educational, and healthcare components. There will be no apartment or housing development. Securing the purchase of the former developmental center is a key component in the overall plan to bring new tax rateable development to Avenel. I'd just like to thank the mayor, Chief of Staff, the administration, for all your due diligence. the state was trying to put something there that would not have been beneficial for Avenel and the township. So thank you again. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilwoman Drum.
Thank you, Council President. Agenda item number 2, St. James will be having their annual street fair on Saturday, September 15th, with a rain date of Sunday, actually, September 23rd. It will take place from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. down here, downtown Main Street. They did ask me to announce that they are looking for some craft vendors and food truck vendors. If you're interested, please contact them at St. James, SF as in Frank, @gmail.com. Number 5, the Woodbridge Chamber of Commerce has some upcoming networking events. The first one at Blue Ale House, which is a multi-chamber networking event, will include Rawway, Edison, and Woodbridge chambers, and that's on September 12th. There'll be a Ladies on Main event September 24th, and we'll be hosting the Mayor's Breakfast, which is planned for September 28th at the Colonia Country Club from 7:30 to 10 a.m. The topic will be presented by the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, and it will be the Turning Brownfields into Golden Opportunities. The New Jersey Site Remediation Reform Act established sweeping reform in this brownfield sites and are remediated through the creation of licensed site remediation professionals. So if you're interested, please go to our chamber website, www.woodbridgechamber.com, for more details. Number 17, the Elks Picnic is on Sunday, August 26th from 1 to 4, Woodbridge Elks on Rawway Avenue. All are welcome. And to save the date for the annual soccer shoot, which will be at Woodbridge High School on Friday night, September 28th from 6 to 9 p.m. It's a free event open to children up to age 13. There'll be first, second, and third place winners in each age category. So if you're interested, you can give me a call at 732-750-9355. And I just wanted to add that I am looking forward to welcoming all of the employees that will be part of us at the club at Woodbridge as we transition through that. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Anderson.
Thank you, Council President. My agenda is primarily in order. I do want to, on item number 1, wish all of the Pop Warner and AYF programs good luck as they begin their season this weekend. The Woodbridge Broncos, the Golden Saints of Port Reading, and Ford's Bearcats. Item number 2, the Job Bank. I would like to acknowledge that the Census Bureau is hiring. The Census Bureau is hiring field representatives in your area, and we're asking you to help us. Okay, they conduct more than 130 surveys a year. Our ability to conduct continuous surveys, other than a once-a-decade population count, depends on the survey takers in the field, and our regional offices are hiring these workers. If you are looking at this point, you can go into if you're looking for a job, you can go into the www.census.gov/field jobs if you're looking for any work presently. And also New Jersey Transit is hiring. They have positions of bus operators, locomotive engineer, and other positions available. You can go on to www.njtransit.com/careers. So if you're looking for work or you're looking for a change in your career, please check with those areas first. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Tagara.
Thank you, Council President. First on the Woodbridge Community Center, this Saturday, the 25th, there is a special class, a free class of Les Miles Master Class. Caesar is the Les Miles Master Trainer of the year, and this is a nice opportunity to get an opportunity to work out in this Les Miles training, which is really popular. Moving down to senior activities, of course, the Senior Olympics are coming up the 7th, 8th, and 9th of September. Our programs are all over the township, but you can certainly go to njseniorolympics.com and register. And I think you can still get in on the special price for Woodbridge residents of three different competitions for $5, and the savings of $25. Looking ahead to special events on September the 2nd, our 23rd annual Crossroads race here in town. starting right in our parking lot, and you can go online if you Google that and register. And then coming up on September 30th is our Tour to Woodbridge Bike Tour, and you can also register for that online. And both of those events, by the way, are run by folks from the club at Woodbridge, and it just leads me to my final comment now that it's a little quiet here and I'm not taking up anybody's time. The reason why there's been a good synergy between the club at Woodbridge and the Woodbridge Community Center is because of the people. And if it was sold in a private setting, there's no guarantee that the people would play nice in the sandbox the way it's been going on for years and years. So that's a big aspect on why we're doing what we're doing. And overall, Councilman Anderson, I agree with what you said. It's the same players that are here making the comments that they did, whatever the situation was in Colonial Country Club. And that could not have worked out better. So I have much more faith in what we're doing than anybody and any of the naysayers. And one thing I did present that I didn't say, I personally, and I know most of you, have spent at least 3, 4, 5 hours walking around that place with Ray and all the other people, looking at the possibilities, opening up doors, looking behind curtains. We checked the place out. So to say that we didn't do our due diligence, I'm somewhat offended by that. I'm not going to make a big stink about it. The people will make their choices. But thank you, Council President. I'm sorry for the soapbox there.
I think we all agree with you. Councilwoman Davis.
Thank you, Council President. Item number 9, the Barron Art Center. From September 1st to September 21st, the Barron Art Center will host Works on Paper art exhibit. This exhibit strives to showcase works of art on paper that reflect innovative use of medium, technical excellence, and personal vision. Works include pencil, pen, and ink, watercolor, acrylic, and more. Artists were chosen based on composition, impact, creativity, and technical execution. On September 29th, from 11 to 5 p.m., the Barron Art Center will hold their second annual Poetry Festival. The location will be Woodbridge Middle School. It will feature award-winning poets and spoken word artists from New Jersey and New York who will conduct workshops, roundtables, readings, and open mics throughout the day. It's free admission and no reservations are needed. And on October 13th from 12 to 4 at Parker Press, they will hold Barron Fest 2018. Celebrating its 11th year, Barron Fest is the Barron Art Center's annual Fine Arts and Crafts Festival, which gathers over 50 artists, rain or shine, at Parker Press, located on Broadway Avenue here in Woodbridge. For all of these programs, please feel free to call 732-634-0413 with any questions. Item number 10, the library, the Woodbridge Public Library. Registration for English classes at the libraries with Literacy New Jersey will be held in all of the locations. Fort's August 30th from 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. The Henry Inman branch from September 4th from 5 to 7:30 p.m. The main library September 5th from 6 to 8 p.m. The Islam branch library September 6th from 10:30 to 12 p.m. Again, these are for English classes. Feel free to visit the library at their www.woodbridgelibrary.org or call 732-906-5456 for any information. Thank you. That is all.
Oh, Councilman Bauer. No, wait. Councilman Small. He's talking to me.
Number 8, school projects, Wall Street and Woodbridge Middle School is coming along nicely. School 18 organizations are almost completed. And our new school 29 in Old St. Cecilia is going to be ready to go with the first day of school and everybody's got their place. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Bauer.
Thank you, Council President. As we reminded earlier, Middlesex County Greenway item number 2, the Greenway visitors should be use caution around the Raymond Street entrance at Ford's. Recent heavy rains have damaged sections of the pathway. Please stay out of the unsafe areas marked by caution tape, fencing, and barricades. And for those residents that use the walkway into our other neighboring townships, a contractor for the New Jersey Turnpike Authority is currently working beneath the bridge and along Middlesex Greenway between Little Avenue and Woodbridge Avenue. The Greenway will remain open. However, please use caution in this area too. The rest of my agenda is in order. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Mr. Mitch.
My agenda is in order. Thank you.
Senator Bennett.
Thank you, Madam President. We will be having bids coming up at the next meeting. There'll be a resolution on that. There'll be a change order on the barrier gates over at the school, at the two high schools, and then with housekeeping, and then the residency waiver for people at the club. That we'll be presenting that to you. And also, in addition, there'll be an agreement to provide overflow municipal parking. That will be also in front of you, and a proposal from T&M for some work to be done here in the municipal building.
Thank you.
And that's the rest of mine.
Director Huff.
Thank you, Council President. We're changing 2 restricted handicap parking spaces to general handicap parking spaces. We're removing a handicap space that's no longer in use, and we're adding one to handicap space to the municipal parking lot on Ferry Street. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Green.
I don't have anything tonight. Thank you, Council President.
Director Somebody.
Nothing this evening. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Director Darden.
Thank you, Council President. In addition to standard biweekly refunds, we'll also have resolution to add public street to our street map. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Henry.
Thank you, Council President. I have a few items. I have a release of a cash performance guarantee for 1400 Randolph Avenue, Avenel. A release of inspection escrow for 1400 Randolph Avenue, Avenel. Release of bond performance for 1400 Randolph Avenel. I have the 2019 municipal aid grant application with NJDOT for Colonial Boulevard milling and resurfacing from New Dover to Sandalwood Lane Phase 1 project. Change order 1 on 2018 stormwater outfall rehabilitation contract. And that's it. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Legal. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.